Hey everyone, your favorite narrator and voice actor from Ohio, Brian Von Vier, is back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we've got DMs of Reddit. What was a convoluted plan your party put together that backfired immediately? Part 1. It wasn't a party, but a single member. I was running a 3.5 Dragonlance campaign as a fledgling DM. I loved that campaign. Today, I recognize a lot of the mistakes I made, but it was my first to run, and it was a lot of fun. The party was low level, between 1 and 5, and they'd just broken a siege. They were tasked with helping Go reopen the trade routes to this castle fortress. I can't remember which one, but I was taking liberties with the story to give something new. The party had been warned that if anyone disappeared into the forest, then they would be abandoned because there was no telling what threats could be out there at this time. That night, one of the minor NPCs went missing. This wasn't discovered until the next day. The caravan mourned and moved on. I decided to roll for a random encounter, rolled 2 dire wolves, and the party ranger chose that moment to say that he wanted to search for the missing NPC. I was stunned because though I rolled behind a screen, it's not like I made it a secret. The caravan leader advised him against it, but he had his heart set on this. Well, the caravan left without him. Dire wolves are intelligent, with high enough intelligence scores in 3.5 to be sentient and make plans. They saw this large group of people and would have just left. No one to know they were there. And then one person willingly separates himself from the group. They stalked him for about 10 minutes as he and the caravan walked in opposite directions before they attacked. That was my first PC death. We still laugh about it from time to time. So my party was planning to infiltrate the keep of a prominent leader who staged a coup that resulted in the death of one party member's father and the military takeover of a major city. He had been portrayed as a big, bad, evil guy since the start of the campaign. Each one of us had different reasons to want him deposed or killed. The party spent about 2 or 3 sessions planning how to get into the city and then how to sneak into his keep to deal with him. We each had a different role to play in seeking out information, setting up plans, generally setting the stage. This took about 1 month in-game, and then the mistakes start happening. One player who had worked his way into the guard of the keep was set to receive a shipment which would contain the rest of the party in crates. Pretty standard. So one person set up creating the manifest to get the crates into the keep. One person got the crates and put them into position so that everyone could get in and hide without anyone seeing. And another person took care of making sure we had other supplies we needed. The one thing we overlooked was arranging for the crates to be brought into the keep. So here's the party waiting in crates that were never arranged to be picked up. The DM allowed us to correct our error by procuring a cart and someone to bring the packages into the keep. One problem solved. The inside man. The party member that's already in the keep gets us and we start sneaking around. The DM did a good job of tossing down hints that we are not encountering guard patrols, that the keep seems less populated, etc. The reason for that is that he knew we were coming and gathered up everybody into where he knew we would strike. While we were game planning before trying to sneak into the room where we would all attack him, the DM rolled a few dice and determined that they could hear us. The bad guy announces into the hallway that if we want to try to kill him, we might as well come on in. And the sorcerer, the player whose father was killed by the guy, waltzes in first. Now that the jig's up, we walk into a room filled with at least 20 guards, a mixed bunch of melee and range, about 6 mages, the guard captain, and 2 clerics. The sorcerer walks right up to confront this guy, and in the first round or 2 of combat is pretty much cut in half. The rest of the encounter goes about as well as you would expect. Our fighter had agreed beforehand that his job would be to cut through the melee guards, and our monk would tank the bad guy. Our monk chose instead to try to rush at the line of ranged guards, allowing the bad guy to make short work of our wizard and one of our rogues. Plan had been that the wizard and sorcerer would rain all holy hell on the ranged guards, mages, and clerics. Instead, they threw all of their magic at the melee guards. The other rogue was picking off ranged guards and mages, generally providing ranged support like he was supposed to. Me, as the only healer, stuck to the plan of being the medic to the fighter's heavy. If you get Team Fortress references, he's the meat grinder, I'm the guy behind behind him keeping him alive. Everyone else agreed to get by on potions until the fighter finished his job and I could get back to group healing. They forgot we literally stockpiled potions for that purpose and did not do that. It would have been a TPK if the living rogue, the fighter, and I didn't hightail it. The worst part is that we could have won. Even with all the hiccups, we almost had him. I sounded the retreat because I was on my last spell slot. Plus, I was playing a scaredy cat tabaxi cleric who just watched multiple friends die, so his tail was between his legs. Afterwards, the DM admitted he was relatively low on health and may not have lasted more than a round or two. My party met a group of kobolds living under the city they were staying in. The kobolds were upset that a road had caved in and destroyed part of their tunnels. Instead of just telling the leaders of the town or paying the 10 gold, the kobolds requested to rebuild their home. The party decided to convince the kobolds that the bronze dragonborn was an actual dragon and con them out of their treasure hoard. To do this, they had to use the fly spell and a well-timed firebolt cantrip, since the kobolds thought that anything that didn't breathe fire was a fake dragon. As a last test, the dragonborn was given a trial by combat to prove that he was a real dragon. During this combat, the druid and sorcerer who were watching the fight came up with a new plan. The druid used thaumaturgy to snuff out all of the torches. Then the sorcerer killed the leader of the kobolds and used disguise self to turn into his ghost. The only problem being that kobolds have dark vision and saw the whole thing. The party did manage to eventually get the treasure hoard, but it turned out to be 3 gold, which they immediately gave back to her surviving kobolds. I was running a homebrew campaign, and the party had to collect a bunch of arcana items to summon a demon who had information about the big bad of the game. The demon was a minor god of mischief and trickery, who wore shifty armor and had an undead dragon companion. The wizard set up the summoning circle, and like the brain of the group he was, he said they should have a plan. A little information. This party consisted of 5 players. A human wizard, an orc rogue, an elven ranger, an ASMR barbarian, and a tiefling cleric. All of the players are crazy mass murderers, hopefully not in real life, who have no value for human life and are all chaotic, neutral, and alignment. They are all wannabe heroes who are adventuring for selfish reasons, mainly revenge. The only relatively sane one is the wizard. Anyway, the wizard had just finished his summoning circle and proposed the party make a plan in case the demon escaped. They argued for a bit, but the final plan, which both the cleric and wizard thought was ridiculous, but the cleric thought it would be hilarious to watch it fail miserably, was that the rogue would try and level with the demon, as he was a god of trickery, while the wizard drew a devil's trap around the demon under the ranger's pass without a trace. The ranger would then attempt to wrangle the demon's only friend, his dragon companion, and use him as leverage. The barbarian and cleric would try to hold the dragon and revive him so he was no longer bound to the demon, and he would be the escape plan. After a series of terrible rolls, the only thing that went right was the devil's trap. The party was too busy murdering my NPCs the entire campaign to catch all the clues I'd been dropping the entire time. And always the one for pro revenge, I planned an epic showdown that would go completely unnoticed because they'd killed or betrayed all those who could give info. The demon was a soldier in the big bad's plot to restart the world and knew he'd be walking into a trap, as one of the NPCs the group had been traveling with was a dark guard, disguised as a paladin fighting for the Stoic Church. I hope I pronounced that right. The ever-ignorant party had ignored his shifty behavior, etc. The paladin had been feeding information to the demons, and he came prepared. He shifted into the dragon, and the demon they trapped was just an image. As I said, the party enjoyed murdering, so when the demon didn't give anything up, they slaughtered him, escaping on the dragon. They celebrated their victory by raiding a temple to the demon. When they took a long rest, the paladin and wizard took first watch. The dragon/demon possessed the wizard and slaughtered the entire party except the paladin. The demon left behind a bit of himself when he vacated the wizard's body. The wizard was now evil, and her and the paladin got married and bore the demon prince, who effectively ended the world and the campaign, all because the party was too busy bringing about destruction to gather the information needed to end the world-ending rot. They would have known all of this was coming if they hadn't killed the mystic for not pouring enough tea. Tisk tisk. The next time we played, it was the aftermath of the Great Rot, and the players were a lot more intent. Though, there was still a lot of chaotic rampaging. In the post-apocalyptic world, the previous party was known as the Imperial Tea Connoisseurs. Winter Wolf Rescue. This was a very early campaign in which we were playing fantasy versions of ourselves. My friend Brian was playing Byron, the Ranger. My friend Sean was playing Nias, the Sorcerer. My dad was playing Larry, the Rogue. And I was playing Keegon, the Fighter. We were on a mission to clear out an abandoned frontier outpost that orcs had taken up residence in. We arrive on the scene and begin scouting out the area, taking note of the size and distribution of the orc forces, timing out their patrols and shift changes, the whole nine. So with this information, we begin to form a plan. We would split the party, brilliant, and approach the outpost from 2 directions. Scale the walls, kill the sentries, set fire to some interior buildings, and regroup at the main gate to cut down the orcs as they attempt to flee to safety. As complicated as this plan sounds, it actually worked flawlessly at first. Under the cover of darkness, we split into 2 infiltration teams. Myself and Larry approach from the north, while Nias and Byron take the southern route. Both teams were able to successfully scale the walls unnoticed and kill the guards without alerting the orc encampment. So far, so good. On to Phase 2. Operation Burn This Mother Down. Larry and I fan out. We quickly locate a barracks, lob a couple torches into the rafters, and head back to the main gates to set out our ambush. Over on the other side of the outpost, Byron and Nias jump down from the wall and set about finding a building to set aflame. The first thing they encounter is a courtyard with a well in its center. Chained to the well is a winter wolf. Think a dire wolf with a breath weapon that orcs were using to guard this area. Brian suddenly gets excited, as I would too, and looks across at Sean with the manic energy of a coked up spider monkey. Brian loves wolves IRL. Dude has more than 3 wolf tattoos last I knew and wore those truck top wolf graphic tees unironically. I like this guy. He says to Sean, "Dude, we gotta help it. We can free him and he'll probably be our friend." It's lawful evil. Sean is unconvinced, but Brian is already concocting a plan. "You get its attention and I'll sneak around and free it," Brian says. You can see where this is headed. Sean knows there is something wrong with this plan, but his protests fall on deaf ears. So Nias walks out to get the winter wolf's attention, while Byron successfully sneaks his way to the well. Once the wolf notices Sean's character flailing around, it charges him. Fortunately, it's stopped short by the chain securing it to the well. Unfortunately, Nias is squarely within the range of its breath weapon. It's at this moment that Byron is able to release the chain. The wolf proceeds to blast Nias with its breath attack. He instantly freezes solid and shatters like the T-1000. Brian is only now realizing his mistake, while Sean glares at him from across the table, suitably annoyed. Byron tried to run, but he didn't make it far. Meanwhile, back at the front gate, our ambush failed miserably. With half our party unable to create the desired chaos in the orc camp, instead of panic orcs fleeing en masse, we were greeted with a good half of the orcs suited for battle. I was forced to use my own father as a human shield. Should have put more points into strength, old man, before fleeing to get out alive. On the plus side, I didn't have to divide the EXP with anyone. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA back at the end again to check up on everybody, make sure everyone's doing alright. Hey, if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you're new, subscribe and ring that bell to be notified whenever we upload a new video. If you want to submit a story to us, obviously check out our subreddit r/MrRipper, and if you're looking for a D&D group, check out our Discord, which is linked in the description below. You can also follow MrRipper further on Twitter, or if you want to watch us live on occasion, check out our Twitch account, which are both linked down in the description below. Using a help action, you can come sub to me on my journey to 1,000 subscribers and beyond, Brian Von VA, joining the Brivers or FEEP army as we are called, while we dive into gaming streams and voice acting memes. Now, we always try to end this on a positive note here, so I just wanted to say today, make sure to say hi to somebody in the comments below. Why? Because a simple gesture can go a long way. Just one small little gesture and a moment of your time is enough to make somebody's day that much brighter in a world where we can't go out and hug somebody. So just say hi to someone and actually try to make a new friend. It can't hurt, and it takes only 5 or 10 minutes out of your day. And you earn that yourself as well as they've earned it for themselves too. So all the love. We'll see you next time. Bye for now, and stay safe out there, everybody.